Purpose Driven, Day 2. How'd you do yesterday? How'd you do with your 3 goals? Did you sit down and get all 3 of them done? Did you have a plus beside each one of them? If you had a minus beside one of them, did you make sure you wrote down why you didn't get it done and what you're going to do differently today? Did you hold yourself accountable? Because that's what's so important. What's so important is that you have to write down what it is that you need to do today differently than what you did yesterday. And eventually you become very good at it. Now on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Day 2, Day 3, and Day 4, I'm going to give you a story that helps illustrate the importance of a purpose-driven life. Hopefully illustrates the purpose, the importance of each quality. And today I'm going to read you a negative story. And this is really pretty negative and pretty tragic, but listen to it and see what it says to you. John Henry Fabre, the great French naturalist, conducted a most unusual experiment with processionary caterpillars. Those caterpillars each blindly follow one in front of the other, hence the name processionary, one right after the other. Fabre carefully arranged them in a circle around the rim of a flower pot so that the lead caterpillar touched the last one, making a complete circle. In the center of the flower pot, he put pine needles, which is the favorite food for the processionary caterpillar. The caterpillar started around the circle, the circular flower pot. Around and around they went, hour after hour, day after day, night after night. For 7 full days and 7 full nights, they went around the flower pot. Finally, they dropped dead of starvation and exhaustion. With an abundance of food less than 6 inches away, they literally starved to death. Why? Round and round. Did they try hard? Oh, yeah. Did they hustle? Yeah, they hustled. But they had no direction. They had no purpose. When I coached football, and I coached football for 42 years, I had the players every day write on a Post-it note 3 things they wanted to get done that day in practice. That kept them from being caterpillars. Because if you go to most football practices, the players are there for 2 hours or 2.5 hours or whatever it is, and they keep looking at that coach's watch to see how much longer they got. And all they got to do is survive those 2 hours. You don't get better by practicing. You get better by practicing good habits. You find out what your faults are, you write them down, and you say, okay, here's what I've got to do to get better. Specifically, I've got to step with the right foot. I've got to get my elbow above my shoulder. I've got to, whatever it might be, this is what I've got to do today, and I'm going to focus on this. And by doing this, I will not be a caterpillar. Now, it's amazing how many caterpillars there are in this world. Look at your school. Why do you go to second period? Well, it's after first period. Why do you go to third period? Well, it's after the second period. I've got to go to the period just like they're in the deal. What do you want to accomplish in second period today? Get it over with? Spend the 45 minutes and try not to go to sleep? What is it that you're trying to accomplish in third period math? Have you written down? Have you said, here's what I want to get done today? What are you going to learn? You see, if you go to school for 12 years, you're guaranteed a piece of paper, but not an education. If you want to learn, if you want to grow, if you want to get better, you've got to sit down and say, here's what I want to learn. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I've got to do to get better. Don't confuse activity with accomplishment. There are so many people that they think if they go to school 6 hours a day, they're going to get smart. You're not going to get smart until you determine what it is that you want to learn. Whatever that teacher has for you in English, you got to make sure that you got to listen. You got to take notes. You got to sit at the front of the class. You got to keep your eyes, see what you hear. You got to do all those things, and that's being purpose-driven. Look at the first question. What's the day in the life of a caterpillar? As a human being, if you took a person and made them a processionary caterpillar, tell me about him. Let me tell you what Will Rogers said about him. Will Rogers said there's so many people, they die, and then 20 years later we bury them. And he goes on to say that what they do is they get up in the morning, they go to work, they got to be there at 8 o'clock, they're an hourly wage person, their shift is over at 5, they get off the shift, they come home, they eat supper, they go to their chair, they sit in the chair, watch TV, 10 o'clock they get up and go to bed. Next morning they get up, they go to work, it's over. It's just over and over. It's like, I'm going to be an NFL football player. How you going to do that? I'm going to go to practice every day. Okay, so you're going to go to practice every day. All you're guaranteed is putting in a time if you don't have a reason. Okay, I'm going to go to school. I've got to go to school. I'm going to go to first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. If all you do is go into classes, if that's all you're doing, you're a caterpillar. And you're going to starve. And 6 inches away from you is life. And you can get so much more out of life when you develop the quality of being purpose-driven. When somebody says, how was your day today? You're going to say, it was great. I got all 3 things done. What helps you from being a caterpillar? How do your weekly goals, how do your daily goals help you from being a caterpillar? You got a purpose. You have direction. You're not just going around in circles. Number 3, Helen Keller was asked one time what was worse than being blind. Helen Keller was blind, deaf, and a mute. Could not speak. And they asked her, they said, what's worse than being blind? She said, having no vision. You see, you may not be blind. You may be healthy and have good eyes and ears and be able to speak. But if you don't have any vision, you're not going anywhere. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a purpose, and that's why you need to develop the quality of being purpose-driven. Don't be a caterpillar. Be the best you that you can be by making this a great day.